we have Keka DasGupta, who's going to be here with us to share with us about stepping into your own power to live your life fully. I'm super excited to chat with Keka. I just met her a couple weeks ago through another mutual connection that we have. Keka is the founder of a global personal development platform called The Art of Lifing. For 23 years, Keka worked in the PR and marketing industry with clients such as Disney, Nike, IKEA, American Express, and many more. During this time, she received more than 50 national and international awards. Amazing. As a TEDx speaker and professional speaker, Keka helps her audience of educators, parents, students, and corporate leaders use world-class branding principles to dramatically improve their own mental well-being. Are you guys ready to welcome Keka? I want you to start typing in the chat here. Go Keka, to welcome her to the stage here. Hi.
Hello.
How are you, Keka?
I'm great. How are you? I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Like we just, clicked. Once we started talking, once we got connected, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I gotta have you, come on speak with us here. You have an amazing experience, just a amazing, outlook on life as well. So I can't wait to hear about your story with us here. So why don't we start off with, tell us a little bit about your cultural upbringing. What's one cultural value that had an impact on you, good or bad?
Amazing. Okay, well, I was born in Canada, in Toronto, Canada, but my parents are originally from India, from Calcutta, so we're Bengali. And one of the things that I grew up hearing from my parents all the time was, I have a younger brother who's 3 years younger, and my parents would always say, you need to take care of your little brother. You are older, you need to make sure that the people around you are taken care of. So if you're a leader, you cannot just say, I'm just talking for myself. I need to be able to not be selfish and actually take care of everybody. So I grew up with that idea of always making sure that if I'm the person in a leadership position, I need to make sure everybody's okay. Lo and behold, I'm in a training session once when I was in-house at IKEA, and we're doing group programs and discussions, and then we have to share our thinking. And every time I would say, we talked about this and we think this, the facilitator kept correcting me and saying, no, you can't speak on behalf of anybody else. You can only speak on behalf of yourself. So you have to say I, not we. I'm like, I, not we, I, not we. And I thought, why can't I get this? The we just kept coming out. And I remembered later upon reflection that this is what I grew up with, was that if I spoke only on behalf of myself, I'd be selfish, and that I really need to take care of everybody else. So today, when it comes to that East, meets West kind of culture, I'm tickled pink when I look at the me to we type of culture that we're in, or even in this pandemic, that our actions are impacting everybody else. I kind of see the merging of that Eastern and Western culture coming together, and it just kind of makes me laugh.
Yeah, I can see people are saying here, I related. I totally relate with you side too. Growing up, I was the eldest of 3 younger siblings, and I was told you got to be the big sister, take care of your siblings, be a good role model.
Yeah. Exactly. It's our job.
It's our job. Exactly. It's our job.
Yep.
So what challenges did you face in your career or business? How did you handle them?
Oh, gosh. I feel like when I first started my career, for example, one of the first interviews I went into after I graduated from university, I had a woman actually ask me in the interview, do you know your ABCs? And I was like, if you look at my resume, I went to university with a scholarship. I went to the World Debating Championships representing my country. What would prompt you to ask me if I know my ABCs? And she said, well, there's filing involved, and I need to know that you can do it. So, there was a whole backstory to it, but clearly I didn't feel welcome in that room. And I thought, you know what? I have bigger fish to fry, and I have to do other things. And so I moved on from there. I've been in workforce situations where I've felt like my direct manager would get threatened every time I would grow in my job. So there've been, many different things that have come up. But the one thing that I've always kept steady in my mind is that, when my father came to this country with my mom, and they were immigrants, my dad was a sole breadwinner. And in that generation, people stayed in one job pretty much forever, So when he got passed up for opportunity for promotion, he had a family to take care of. And he said, I don't have a choice. I have to stay here. And I made a promise to myself when I watched my dad, when he was so good at his job and he wouldn't get the promotions because they needed him in that position. I made a promise to myself that, I'm never going to make that compromise because I want to do right by my dad. So one of the things that I really kept true for myself was that anytime I was in a job, if I didn't feel like I was being treated fairly, or if I felt like I could grow and I wasn't getting those opportunities, I fought for myself. I voiced my opinions. I went to my manager. I went to HR. And if it didn't work, I looked for other opportunities. I was like, if this is not going to work for me, I will move on. And that's something that has really helped me in my career as I've grown, is that I haven't made compromises on that integrity and that promise I made to my dad. But ultimately, that promise that I made to myself was that if a situation in a work situation is not going to work for me, I'm going to move on. And I feel like we're lucky in the marketplace today where people constantly change and move jobs. So we have that freedom in our generation today.
Oh, I love that. What you just said here is you gotta speak up, essentially, right?
Yes.
My sub question to this is, because I know you've had a very successful career. Can you maybe share with the audience what's been the key to your success? I know you talked about voicing your opinion, but what are some things you've done to get yourself into like management leadership positions?
I'm a lifelong learner. So any opportunity I have to learn, I will grow. And, I used to hear a lot of the time my colleagues beside us going, oh, well, that's not my job. That's not my role or responsibility. And I can say that in the 23, 24 years that I've been in my working life, I have never said that is not part of my job if there was an opportunity for me to learn. But what it did for me was, even if in the current position I was in, it didn't grow or advance me in terms of where I wanted to go, I took that intel with me into other parts of my work, or the next phase of my chapter in my working career. So it was always something where I could, if I learned and I worked hard, I could give to myself. And also that I needed to believe in myself. It's one of those things where I once I was going into this really big advertising pitch. It was a multi-million-dollar program. I was going in as a PR expert to a mining company. So I was with the board of directors. So if you can imagine, little old Indian me, I'm 5'1". I'm the only woman in the room, only person of color. All the other people were men who were, in their 60s. I was in my 30s at the time. They're all Caucasian, cowboys, really lovely people, really lovely men. But they were nothing, none of them looked like anything like me.
Mm-hmm.
And for a split moment, I had one of those, doubts, like, these guys are trading $1 million in their companies for breakfast every day. Who am I to come in here? We talked about imposter syndrome with Jasmine, as you mentioned before. I was like, who am I to come in here and talk about this? And then suddenly I recentered myself and I was like, hang on a second. These guys might be really great when it comes to the mining industry, but they don't know PR the way I know PR. I'm like, I know what I need to do for them from a public relations perspective. And I recentered myself, thought about all the hard work I've put into my career to become the subject matter expert. So when I stood up there and I presented, I owned that stage and I owned my worth and what I was talking about. And so the group really valued me, really respected me. It didn't matter that I was different. It didn't matter I was the only girl. I had to believe in myself. So working hard and then believing in yourself were the two.
I love this. My heart is like singing right now. I'm like, own this stage, own your worth, own your voice. Like, that's what it's about. I love it. I love it. So why do you do what you do? What's something that you're most proud of here?
Oh my gosh, what I'm most proud of. I feel like when I was growing up, I saw a lot of people around me who were going into jobs where they weren't happy, but they weren't making a change, and for whatever reason, there's no judgment there. Different people have different situations. But I made a promise to myself that every single day when I get up and I go to work, I want to love going to work. I want to do something where it doesn't feel like work, but I'm like, yes, let's do this. And so I followed my passion in that way. And I went into public relations and I went into marketing. And a few years back, I thought, there's something more I need to do with my life. I just need to do something different. And I felt called to sort of speak on stage and share something of my heart. But as a marketer, I was talking on stages all the time, but it wasn't coming from my heart. It was coming from my expertise. And I needed to push myself. And that's where I literally forced myself to put out a post on Facebook one day and say, I have an anti-bullying program for schools that I want to do. Do I know any teachers or any friends who could let me into a school? Thinking that maybe one or two people might make an introduction. And I actually had no program all written out. It was all sort of in my head on what I wanted to do. And I was flooded with supportive people who were like, let me put you in touch with this person and that. And at the end of the day, that's how my Art of Lifing brand started. I followed my heart, once again after a 23-year career, and I said, what do I really want to do? And so today when I go out on stages with corporate companies or with schools and I talk about the art of lifing, I am speaking from my heart. And once again, I feel like, this is my soul's work. It's what I'm meant to do. And it doesn't feel like work. So I'm really grateful for that.
That's amazing. So that's how you pivoted your career after
Yeah.
23 years. You pivoted into becoming a speaker and sharing your voice and message.
Here's the crazy thing about it, Diana, is that, when I first started, I thought, do I leave my entire 23-year marketing career behind me and start from scratch again, which feels a bit daunting. And I'm not one of those people who dives both feet into a pool. I'm very dip the toe in the water, make sure it's okay. But I followed my heart, and I followed the belief inside of me that what I have to offer has value. So when I first went in to do these training programs with kids, I was just really looking for feedback, and the kids were amazing, and the teachers were amazing. And so even though in the back of my head, I thought, I'm not an educator. I don't have a doctorate in psychology. What am I doing talking to these kids? I kept thinking, my heart's telling me to do this. I know that I have something important to say. And then as I started doing it, that's when I started to realize, wait a minute, in the marketing world, I have spent 23 years connecting people to people, people to brands. I focused entirely on relationships and how people feel. I started to look at branding principles and saying, oh my God, if we apply this to mental health, this can be transformative. So I knew it and I had the intel. I just didn't have the clarity at the time. But I really have learned that in the absence of clarity, we have to take action. And that's really what propelled me to get into this.
Amazing. Wendy just commented, this is brilliant. I'm in a similar life circumstance here.
Oh my God.
And I'm curious to hear from the audience, are any of you who are in that career journey, where you have 10 plus years, 20 plus years experience, and you're looking to make this huge pivot that seems daunting, but just listening to Keka's story is so inspiring that you just put yourself out there and experiment to see what the feedback is. And then you listen to your heart and took the leap of faith, made the jump.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So let's dive into your topic, step into your own power. What does power mean to you? How to step into your own power and influence others?
Okay. Step into your power to me means this. If all of us here today close our eyes for a moment and think about the person who looks up to us the most, or the person that we care about the most. So this can be our children, it could be a younger sibling, it could be a friend who really relies on us. We all have somebody in our lives who relies on us, asks us for help or advice. If we want to encourage them, what do we say to them? We say, I believe in you. Right?
Yeah.
If you're a parent and you see your child struggling with something and they're nervous, what do we say to them? I know you can do this. I believe in you. We instill confidence in them. What do coaches do when it comes to sports teams? We're like, you got this. We're going to do this, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that to ourselves? If we want to step into our power, we have to be our own biggest champion. And sometimes that's hard to do, especially as women, we're taught to be selfless and give to other people. But to me, I keep thinking to myself, I've got two boys who are 10 and 14. If I see that they're not confident in themselves, what do I have to do for them? And I have to give them all the confidence in the world and encourage them. Well, I have to walk the talk. Because if I don't do it for myself, they're going to watch me and say, you can talk all you want, but you're not doing that for yourself. So why should I do that? Right? So now as a mom, I'm like, I have to be good to myself. I have to be my biggest champion. And that's what I mean when I say step into your power, is that we have to believe that what we have to give means something to the world. If we believe it, the world will believe it.
Oh, I love it. If we believe it, the world will believe it. This is marketing 101.
Yes. And honestly, Diana, I have been in so many different make it or break it meetings with presentations where there's multi-million dollars of an account on the line. And I have learned that we're presenting creative concepts to brand marketers and CEOs. If I get on that stage and I share my creative ideas, but I share it where I wholeheartedly believe this will work, 100% of the time, my clients have believed it too. And so I've seen that time and time again in the most powerful boardrooms, the most powerful presentations. And if it can happen there, oh my God, it can totally happen in our hearts as well.
Oh, I love that, the belief. Someone just said, my daughter shadows my behavior. So if I believe it, she'll believe it. If I do it, she will do it.
Yes.
I love that. Rabni said, I believe in myself. I love it. This is like a motivational talk here. I love it. I feel like, this is the recording that you can listen to this talk like that. You got this. I believe in you.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
I love it. So let's talk a bit about, from your experience in marketing, what are some of the unconscious bias formed from marketing and advertising?
Oh, Diana, I get so passionate about this because as a marketer, we know, for example, just the advertising, forget even social media, advertising around us, each of us are exposed to 5,000 messages per day. And those are hitting us subconsciously. So, we don't necessarily think about it. Like I was working with this one woman on an amazing project with a tribal community in Colombia, in Tucci in Colombia. And for a week, we were in this little condo that had no mirrors. And I can tell you that in that week, where it's like, 90-degree humidity, we were like sweating our faces off. I didn't have a mirror to look at what I looked like. And for not a single day in those 7 days did I care what I was wearing. But, getting ready for today or any day when we get into work, right? How many of us have put on an outfit? No, I don't like this. We're going to change this and that. Those mirrors reflect back on us the story we tell ourselves, right? And so when it comes to marketing, I'll give you one example that I use in some of my talks. There is, we all know L'Oreal, nothing against the company. They're an amazing company doing amazing things, but they have an advertisement out, a TV advertisement. You can YouTube it and check it out, but it's Eva Longoria, and she's promoting the root touch-up. So, I have my grays. This is a product that I can use, but here's Eva Longoria, one of those beautiful Latino actresses and women we know. She is in the commercial sitting and she's on her phone, and suddenly the doorbell rings and the pizza delivery guy comes in. And you can see in the commercial, she's like, oh my gosh, she covers the part in her hair, runs over, takes the root touch-up, puts it on, and suddenly that gives her confidence. And then she opens up the door for the pizza delivery guy, and she's like, ooh, the pizza's really hot, in a really nice, flirtatious way. The humor is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we as women watch that commercial, what's the subliminal takeaway that our subconscious takes? That if a woman as gorgeous as Eva Longoria can't bear to show herself to a pizza delivery guy, there's no hope for any of us, right? That we become dependent on products. And this is the biggest thing that I think that, we cannot fix a problem we're not aware of. I want people to know when it comes to subconscious bias, that sort of unconscious bias that we pick up, we have to know that we have to be able to know that we are enough without any product, any service, anything else, no matter what we do. If we're just here, we are enough. Otherwise, all those unconscious biases are going to hit us every day, and we're going to keep fighting them. So the best thing we can do is become aware of it.
Yeah, being aware. Oh, amazing. I love that. How to be more inclusive in day-to-day interactions with others from different cultures?
Oh gosh, I think that this is my belief in working 23 years in marketing, is that there is magic in every person. And it's been my job for 23 years to find that magic. And so when any of us, whether we're in a leadership position or not, we are often working with other people as team players. How do we see the magic in other people? If we can see people for their whole self, their cultural elements, their upbringings, their personality, if we can see all of that, that's when we can be way more inclusive. So, I feel like one of the big things we need to do is educate ourselves, obviously. So reading books and watching documentaries and all of those things are great. But when you come to somebody in your workplace or your school or wherever you are in your community and say, I don't know much about your culture and I really want to know more about it. Can you share with me? What are your practices? What do you feel most proud of? Get somebody to share themselves with you. You're going to see their magic. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. And that inclusiveness becomes second nature when we do that. That's really what I believe. When it comes to diversity and inclusion, ask questions authentically from your heart and get to know the people around you.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, you said this could be a great interview question to ask employers as well. That's a good one. Yeah. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
How to go from living life on autopilot to doing life on purpose? I know this is really your guiding principle, what you do.
Yeah, it is. And so often we are taught in society that like the accolades we want that are going to make us happy are external. I need a promotion. I need to make more money. I need to be married. I need to have kids. And there's all kinds of things that sort of society tells us that we need to do in order to be happy. And I was victim to that. A few years ago, I had a friend that came over for a play date with her kids. And, we go back a long way. And she said to me, oh my God, Keka, you have got to stop living in fear. Like this tension you have, this fear, you just have to relax and let go. And it came out of left field for me. I was like, I have a pretty successful career. I have a beautiful husband. I have 2 amazing children. I feel really, really lucky. I feel gratitude every day. I don't really know what you're talking about. And it was only because I really trusted her. She's like a sister to me, that I said, okay, Radhika, like what's going on here? Let's get deeper. What am I missing? And what I started to realize is that I needed everything to be perfect. You know, like I needed to have a perfect marriage. And if something wasn't perfect about it, oh my God, I would get so nervous. Or my kids needed to do really well in school. They needed to be happy. They needed, like, could you imagine? They need to be this, they need to be happy. They, you know, we're not giving them freedom to be who they want to be, freedom to make mistakes and learn from them. I wasn't giving myself any freedoms to make mistakes. I needed to be perfect at everything because I felt like I needed approval from other people. But when that happens, we are living under other people's rules and not our own. So when I talk about the art of lifing and kind of living life on purpose and doing it on our own terms, it's really like when we take charge and we become the CEO of our own life, because the CEOs make their own decisions for how they're going to steer the company and everybody else follows, right? And when they show that leadership and they say, this is what we're going to do, everybody feels their energy and confidence and they go, yeah, let's do this. We're all going to do it. We need to do that with our own lives, is we need to do it on our own terms and believe in ourselves. Because when we do, that's when we find happiness. And, you know, there's going to be ups and downs in life. We have to embrace all of that with what we're going to learn. That's really the biggest thing, that I'm on my own journey doing this. And my goal is to be able to bring other people on so we can do this collectively together.
Oh, amazing. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Keka, where can people find you?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I have a YouTube channel called The Art of Lifing with Keka. I would love for them to check out my videos there. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram. My handle's The Art of Lifing. And yeah, I just really want to have connections with you, and let's do this together. And yeah, do life on purpose.
Do life on purpose. Guys, make sure to check out Keka's TEDx talk as well. It was so beautiful. Like, I had to reach out to her once I watched it. So take a look. Just do a search on YouTube and you'll be able to find it. Thank you so much. It was just motivational. Like, I can see the chat in here. People are like, this is what I needed today. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here. And I can't wait to hear the other talks. This is amazing, Diana.
Amazing. All right, you take care. Bye, Keka.
Bye.